Hey there. These 3 things will help you build your dream life and your dream grant writing business. Working with clients that recognize your value, staying true to your boundaries, and not taking your business too seriously. Kelsey Hull, similarly, an in-house grant writer turned grant writing consultant, talks to us about how these 3 things have shaped her business and her very flexible lifestyle. We also get to chat about grant writing tips, like how to talk to a client after you lose that grant and how to build a relationship with funders. Let's meet Kelsey. Hi, Kelsey. I am so excited to welcome you to the Unicorn Spotlights today.
Happy to be here. Hi.
I love that you were actually able to participate in one of our cohort trainings. I would love to know what your life kind of looked like then, and then what were the questions you were asking yourself about what if I did this myself?
I was a part of a cohort with Rose, who is amazing. Working for an organization, I was their grant writer, their fundraiser, all things development. The training was incredible. But then I got exposed to the whole way of learning grant writing. It was one of those things, if you're looking for a sign, this is it. I just kept hearing little bits of like, hey, you can start your own business, create a life you want. Are you looking for flexibility? I was shown how strong and dynamic of a training it was through the cohort. I was just at this perfect place where I was feeling like ready for my next step. And I was like, oh, this might be the companion, like exactly what I need to take that next step and have that flexibility.
Companion, that might be my all-time favorite word that someone has used about the collective. When you joined, what was your definition of success?
Jumping into action. And it's hard to do that on your own. It's really hard to leave a comfortable job. It's really hard to leave a salary and all those things. You all were so clear on like, hey, these are the exact steps we need to do while you're getting your education. Like you can make money. That was a big one for me. So success was going to really be like listening to that little voice in my head that said that lifestyle you want, that flexibility, you can do that.
Sometimes grant writers, especially those in-house, are really nervous to have those ideas because it means leaving an organization that they really love and care about. You actually turned them into a retainer client once you left. Were you nervous? Like, what was that actually like to talk to them about becoming a retainer client?
Totally scary. 100%. For them, there's a huge benefit. All companies and businesses know that their employees are going to cycle out at some point. But if you say, hey, I'm going on to this next step because I want to elevate myself professionally and I want you to be a part of that, they're like, oh, wait. We still get you. If you're working for an organization for a while and you have that history and the language about the work, like that takes a while to build. So they benefited because I was bringing them along with me and was so thankful to have them as a client. I was like, oh, and I already have a retainer. And negotiating, that's funny. And you're going from salary to like writing a contract for your boss. You have to feel steady in what you're doing. And doing that alone would have been really hard, but I didn't do it alone because I was in the collective.
I'm so proud of you because it is really tricky. There's power dynamics there. There's the risk of your salary losing. There's the risk of like, okay, this was going to be my safety net to jump. It's a really cool thing that you did.
Thank you.
Take me back to a really challenging aspect of this journey.
Losing, not getting a grant for a client is so hard. It's such an honor to have nonprofits invest in you and believe in you. And you know that they maybe don't have a lot of resources. And if they're pouring some into you, like not giving them that back to them, it's very hard. But I need to remember that my value is really beyond that. The capacity that you can provide nonprofits and the language, like there is so much more you're offering than wins and losses. But that is a really hard part about this space. Like you get it or you don't. And the don't is tough.
And it's a reality that we won't get all the ones we apply for.
No.
How do you tell the client that you lost the grant?
I am always going to be harder on myself than anybody else will be. And a lot of us, I think, are that way. Just being a human about it. You're a human supporting other humans, and we're not robots doing this work. Being really honest and sharing, like, I'm so frustrated by this. And here are my action steps to try and help us next time. Just showing that you've really had that thought and sharing honestly, like if it really did impact you, I think they care to see like challenge and distress. You're like sharing that experience with them, which I think makes a difference.
We are heart-driven people as grant writers. And I think you're right that when we lean into that, especially in that way, really vulnerably with people, it allows them to also be vulnerable with you. It's really beautiful.
Yeah, absolutely.
What are you most proud of in this grant writing journey?
When I zoom out and look at my life, I'm like, Kelsey, you have a business. You're home right now. You are connected with organizations in your community and you just found them and wanted to work for them. And now you are. And I go outside every day. I can answer the phone when my mom calls. My life has a level of flexibility and humanity. That's what I really wanted. And I did that. And it doesn't mean it's like how it's going to be forever, but to get to this point, whether it's grant writing or not, that you can build a business and create that life, you're set from there and launching into so many different things.
I love it. It also speaks highly of your boundaries, because often we just take on a bajillion clients versus you have been very strategic in how many clients, what am I charging, so that one, I can maintain the financial impact that I need to make for my own family, but then also the flexibility and the mental health and the emotional impact that you want in your own life. I want to throw it back to you that you have been really, really powerful in your boundaries around what you want and creating this life.
Boundaries are a toughie. In every arena. Yeah. Oh, thank you.
Can you describe what Groceries for Seniors does and maybe one of the projects that you get to work on with them?
As an organization in San Francisco, I reached out to the executive director, was like, hey, do you want to have a call? And he's like, no, like just come on in and volunteer. I was surrounded by a bunch of seniors in the Chinatown community, and we bagged a bunch of groceries that were going to be distributed to low-income seniors in San Francisco who are isolated and not being served by existing food pantries. And it's just one of those small, old school grassroots organizations. They're just so sweet. They're run by seniors. They serve seniors. It's a lot of pen and paper. We're working on like modernizing things a little bit, but not projecting anything onto them that doesn't feel right for them. Hey, what do they really want? What are the baby steps that feel best for them? Because they deliver to over 1,000 seniors multiple times a week. Van was breaking down and we got them above and beyond enough funding to get them a new delivery van. And to them, that was just like, all of their staff is part-time. So for them to have believed in me and that to have paid off fully is just so good.
It's like cake with icing plus candles plus sprinkles. I mean, it's just like the whole thing.
Yeah, and real feel good. Yeah.
One of the things that we'll hear a lot is like, well, what if we get extra funding? You got above and beyond what actually the van needed to cost. Do you have to return some funds? Could you allocate that to other places? And was that a relationship with a funder? Talk to us about that.
If you have a project, you'll apply for X amount of grants from foundations, but you don't know if you're necessarily going to get them all. So you really need to apply for a bunch more. So it's really about having that relationship with the foundation. There's certain ones that are going to be super rigid, like, no, this is van or nothing. But other ones where it's like, hey, this is the organization. We are so happy that we had so many partners believe in this project. Can I talk to you about some other ways that we'd really like to use these funds? And if through the whole process, you've been building that relationship, which I think you really need to do, then that won't be too sticky of a situation.
Probably did a lot of relationship building in your in-house capacity. Grant writers, it feels like it's just writing the grant, that it's this solo activity when really grant writing spans so many different skill sets. Building relationships, one of them that you can choose to opt into. Is there something you would share with people who want to maybe get into that aspect more on how they can practice or what they can talk to with clients about to get into that space?
Frequent check-ins with people who are part of the program team or the executive director. It's so valuable to feel a part of the team and to stay connected to them. And then you feel engaged and a part of it. And if you can visit the org in person, that makes a really huge difference too. Get a feel for like what's really going on there. And then the foundation piece, asking for a meeting, sending updates, just really trying to make yourself known. And something that's helped me is because I work with so few clients, I have emails for those nonprofits.
Nice.
So I'm not sending emails from my own business. I'm sending it from their nonprofit, which I think has made a really big difference. It makes you feel more a part of the team. And I think the foundations then see you as a team member more than like an outside person.
I think that this really loops back well into why we are such advocates of the retainer model. Because if you did have just a contract for like writing the grant, all of that extra work would be work that really you're not getting paid for in a traditional grant writing contract. And so retainer models allow us to build that role a little bit more holistically. And obviously that relationship building has paid off tenfold in finding all of that money and building up just their capacity for funding.
Absolutely. And then you're not worrying who's going to be my client next month. There is so much value in like finding the organizations that work for you and reaching out, but it's also time consuming. And to get really familiar with an organization month after month, and you can create so much collateral for them that when you decide to move on, it's like, and here's all this work and language we put together and relationships we have. And that impact feels so much greater, which means a lot for me.
That's why we're doing what we're doing, is the impact. I know that there's one up level that you're soon to be making, which is around hiring, the tension that you're feeling in your business right now, like where you do need to hire, but maybe it's a little bit scary, what that looks like for you.
Hiring is totally the next step for me. You just find yourself doing things over and over and over again. And I'm logging all of my hours with clients and like trying to price things out and figuring the cost of things, especially for clients like with Groceries for Seniors, where it's like, I want to get them on a database and move a bunch of data from point A to point B. And I'm like, is that like my superpower? Or could I be putting my expertise and skill set somewhere else? And what if somebody really wants to do that work and wants to be a part of the team? I would be a groovy person to do that with. And I know that that makes the most sense. I know that the Learn Grant Writing like knows that that's my next step and knows that people have a lot of friction with it. It's perfect. The flexibility I have and just being my own person in the business, that makes it a little, cause like, oh, well, now there's someone I got to talk to. There's like someone who's going to be a part of it. And I am a people person, but I do think that that's my little resistance. I haven't really craved that like team feeling yet, but like most things we have resistance to, I'm sure that I will actually really find a lot of value in it. Why not create that? And it's not forever. Another great thing to remember, nothing we want to be permanent is actually even ever permanent. Do it. It works. It doesn't, like, it's all okay. And just not to take yourself and your business so seriously. Like, give it a try.
You're right. Everything in life is temporary. And sometimes working with team members can prove that point either really well in one direction or really well in the other direction. It's a great point about hiring. Let's do some rapid fire questions. One word to describe your dream lifestyle.
Delightful.
Next vacation spot.
Somewhere I can go on a bike tour.
Oh, lovely. Favorite podcast.
Always music. That's not the name of the podcast. I'm just always listening to music.
Oh, you're just always listening to music. I thought it was like a music-based podcast. Favorite Spotify playlist on repeat?
Oh, with work, it's a lot of funny lo-fi stuff. Even though I'm more of like a Joni Mitchell, Brandy Carlisle girl, it's a lot of beats when you're writing.
It's so true. What are you reading right now?
Elliot Page's autobiography.
Last TV show you binged?
I don't watch that much TV.
All good. And what is your superpower?
Hope.
And we will just end right there. Thank you so much, Kelsey. Thank you for your vulnerability, for sharing parts of your story, for helping out not only the organization Groceries for Seniors, but other organizations that I know have had that magical Kelsey touch that is just so, so pure and genuine. So thank you.
Thank you so much. This was a treat. I appreciate you.
Yeah, I appreciate you. And who knows, maybe we'll be back here in a year and you'll have a full-blown team.
Let's do it. We just never know what's going to happen.
Exactly.